Did anyone ask any questions, Mike?
We do have some questions. Are we all caught up
Fuck
from
yeah.
our past 2 weeks here?
I
I guess
don't.
so.
Chad said he did nothing and didn't remember anything, and we killed an hour and 15 fucking minutes. And you literally said I did nothing, then never talked again for an hour. So I covered it.
Are you done at work, Mike? Are you not?
Pretty much. I've got some things to wrap up, and I've got a pond to close.
Oh no.
But for the most part,
What do you
I'm
do with
pretty
the
much
fish
done.
in the pond for the
They
winter?
stay in the pond. It's deep enough for them.
Do you put a bubbler in?
They've got two bubblers in the pond, and then they throw a heater in there in the top. That's supposed to let the gases out or something.
You sound like an expert. I definitely have you closing my pond. It's supposed to let the gases out or something.
Yeah. I haven't done a pond since, so I wouldn't say.
Are you opening the pond division?
No, I'm not. That's not in the.
Hey, we never talked about that thing I posted on my threads.
What did you post?
Did you guys like that?
You still have threads? People are still using that?
More people are using it because people hate Elon Musk now for some reason. I don't remember what it was, but it's some reason. So there's like it's a big threads thing. Yeah, people are they're really irritated with Elon Musk for some. I really like this. I hardly ever repost things. Oh, here. Shit, that was some. There are no rich, successful people altruistically trying to teach you how to get rich on social media. If an account's focus is on getting rich, you aren't the beneficiary, you're the means.
Agreed.
That was good.
Yeah. Do you think that bleeds into all kinds of stuff on the internet lately? With any kind of the endless amount of stuff that goes on? Or do you I know they're saying get rich, but it's always get something. Do you think that that's relevant to whatever someone's trying to get you to do on the internet, or just get rich quick schemes?
Are we applying this to the landscape? Or
applying it anywhere, but it can apply to landscape too.
Are you talking about people selling courses and shit? Because I think there's some legitimacy to that for learning how to landscape.
Oh, I think that's legitimate too. Yeah. I'm just saying, does that apply to? I think there's lots of legitimate stuff on the internet too. I just think that does it apply more broadly than just people saying get rich quick? Like, say, the Heitman Academy, would it apply to that? Because that wasn't a get rich quick. That was a 10x your business for growth. I guess part of it was get rich quick, but part of it wasn't, right? It was, I don't know. I'm just
Here's
saying.
what I don't if you're 10xing your business, I think your intention is to pull all the money out. Is it not? Because they don't, let's be real here, they don't care about working.
They definitely don't care about cutting 45s on the corners.
That's I don't think they care at
all. They're not
about,
good landscapers.
I don't think they care at all about building shit and building a reputable business and the longevity.
So here's a different way to pose this question. I think it's more appropriate. I don't think I did a good job of the first time I said. Do you think that the illegitimate people who actually fall into that category where this thing is talking about, there's no rich, successful people altruistically trying to teach you how to get rich on social media. Do you think that those people ruin it for all the legitimate people and make people suspicious of everyone?
So the first line that sticks out to me from what you said here was altruistic people. And I don't think that exists. And I've heard people say I'm making content for everyone else. I don't do this for me. I do it for everyone else, which is an altruistic thing to do. But that's not true. You get the gain. You gain something from creating that content, whether that's, ads or whatever you get. But so many people focus on, oh, I do this for everyone else, I don't do this for me. And that's
why do we do this? Because we're
yeah,
not getting
why do we do
that? We don't get any money right now.
I think the more upfront you can be with why you
I
do
do this for
something.
my own mental health.
Okay. I'm there. I like the free coaching I get when I'm here.
You like the justification of buying the excavator?
Yeah.
Well, I could go so down that. I could go so deep down that hole, man. You would be buying it today. I could get you to fucking eat for the money. That's how far I could go down that hole. Mostly because I think it's sick, but whatever. It's also true, everything. But sorry, go ahead, Mike. I cut you off.
I think that's what I was just saying. I don't remember what I left off at, but I think just the more transparent you can be as to what you're doing with your online content, the better. But I think that strays from what you were getting at the second time you were repeating your question there.
No, I think there are people who maybe aren't doing it. I agree with you. I don't think anyone's doing anything altruistically. I think there's usually a means to some means to the end.
Yes.
It's like, I mean, I guess probably the most famous person saying, put out content about something and you'll get and if you're teaching people things for free, you'll get back tenfold, probably but almost selling it as an altruistic thing is probably Gary Vee, but he's charging $100,000 for a keynote now. So he clearly benefited he wasn't doing it altruistically. He wanted $100,000 for an hour keynote. If he was doing it altruistically, he'd be doing the keynote for free too.
And then even more so, the most altruistic person, quote unquote, would be Sam Bankman-Fried, who took billions of dollars and is now going to spend likely the rest of his life in jail because of it. So anybody that talks about doing it for other people or, I do this altruistically, it immediately raises so many red flags for me. Personally.
Do you think they believe it though? Not all of them, but some of them.
I don't know. I can't answer that because I've got my interpretation of it, and I would say I don't know how you could believe something like that. But then there's the whole inside of their head, they might twist their mind around enough to jump through hoops and believe that and have nobody around them to challenge them, right? Just a bunch of yes people.
But I also think that if you say something long enough, over and over and over again, it becomes a truth to you.
Yeah. So
if you constantly talk about how it's whatever you're saying, even if it's total bullshit, if you say it over and over and over again, something came probably because we talk about this shit so much and my phone hears it. That's true. I get a shit ton of Grant Cardone ads now.
I do too.
Which is stuff I could absolutely fucking care less about and think is the absolute stupidest shit on the planet. So why it keeps coming to me, I guess if I see it long enough, I'll convince. But there was one, I guess I do watch it though, because I'm like, what stupidity is this guy spouting out of his mouth today? And the last one I watched was he was telling everyone to get rid of all their money, spend it all, and make sure you have zero money in the bank at all times. Don't have a penny in the bank. Make sure you're in your overdraft at all times. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? He said that having money in the bank is old school thinking and the stupidest thing ever. Send all your money to me for a course. And someone will listen to that and be like, fuck, I got to send this guy all my money because having money in the bank is stupid.
Yeah. There's so many people like that in not landscaping industry, but just online in general. I've seen so many clips of Grant Cardone talking about things like that are going to get so many people in financial trouble. And he'll also you could pay money to Grant Cardone and he'll vouch for you. So he's online vouched for so many scammers and so many people that have taken people's money. It's ridiculous. And all it takes is you just pay him a little bit of money and he'll vouch for you. He'll post a story of you and put his arm around you and say, I vouch for this guy's, and then that person takes that video and posts it everywhere online, and it builds him up as some sort of authority because he's with Grant Cardone, right? And that's how these cycles go, and it's yeah.
I think the whole thing is sometimes I see people posting from like his events or any of that shit, and it makes me sad for them. Because I'm like, you have so little belief in yourself as a person and so little belief in yourself to drive your business forward to success that you have to cling to someone that deep down in your heart, you know, is a total fucking loser who's scamming everyone. Whenever I see that shit, I feel bad for those people. Because I'm like, man, believe in yourself a little bit more. Just a little bit. Like, because it's fucking sad that you're there doing that.
I think that people will get some sort of value out of, like, I don't think everything Grant Cardone says is stupid. He does say some smart things, but
I haven't heard him say anything smart in my life, but you've obviously watched more shit than I have. So
I just can't. I just can't get behind.
There's a couple local businesses in Toronto that endlessly flaunt that they are part of the Grant Cardone system and how much they fucking love him and how they're doing all this stuff. And I'm like, what are you? You couldn't have done any of this on your own. You need this to somehow justify this behavior. Like, what are you doing? It's fucking stupid. And it makes you look like an ass by advertising that you're participating in it. And like, I can't see any client looking at that you sit there posting on Instagram and other places and going, fuck yeah, that person's involved with that guy. Holy shit, I can't wait to hire that fucking company. I bet they cut 45s on the corners. I don't see how any of it's advantageous. I don't know.
It's not even necessarily like that you're guaranteed success. Like, we've seen 2 landscaping companies that 10x their way to bankruptcy and are now in the news being chased around by reporters about money that they owe to clients that they took, right?
But how many did that happen to that never got that big? That just
exactly,
you know, like
during a time when it was the easiest time to make money possibly ever, right?
And yeah,
I think it was probably the easiest time to take money from people too.
Yes, right? Absolutely.
Like, not just make money, but everybody was so horny to buy shit and renovate their house and all this stuff that they're just giving money away without doing their due diligence too, I guess.
My point being, as we come into a time when it might continue to get a little bit tougher, how many more companies like that are going to continue to go down, right? Because these online people have come up from 2008 until now, right? During a time where it's been basically on the rise, and you can build a lot of wealth if you're aggressive during a time of growth. And that was a 15-year period, almost double what is usual for a bull market. And it's easy to flaunt your success and then draw other people into that. But, you know, what does 10x look like in a downturn?
I don't know.
No, I'm sure they got a course. So,
yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's probably a course. Fucking, I don't. It just. But hey, I guess it takes all different kinds to float the world. So those people that are doing that shit and promoting that stuff, I'm sure they're looking at me and my business going, "What a fucking loser." That guy's fucking up his whole, you know, maybe that's what's great about the world is they can totally think that, and I'm okay with it. Look at that loser paying off his shit. Look at him owning all that stuff. Fucking loser, not losing his house. No TV reporters are chasing after him yet.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Anyways, what's a question, Mike?
Question. Are we done with that? Are we past the
I've been ranting a lot on this episode, so maybe we can move on to some 45 corners, fucking stupid 10Xers. Is that going to be like a generation? Like Generation X, Millennials, 10Xers? Should they get their own generation?
Generation 10X.
Generation of landscape 10X? Like, oh, I also was ranting about the idiot with his general counsel. Had a lot of ranting going on this episode.
That's 2 weeks of pent up rage.
Yeah.
I guess.
You can tell you didn't blow off any steam in Dominican.
No. No.
All right.
I ate
Michael,
a lot of bacon, though.
did you?
Oh,
Bacon.
Well, I love bacon, and I don't usually eat it because I don't usually eat in the morning, which I know is terrible and wrong and horrible. But in the morning, when I get up at a resort, there's always bacon. Although I think people in the Caribbean love undercooked bacon, and I love really crispy bacon. And that's a dispute I have with any Caribbean island I've been to. Like, cook your fucking bacon. I don't know. What's your guys' experience?
We've
have you guys found crispy bacon at fucking Caribbean islands?
We've been through the fact that you love everything overcooked.
That's fair enough.
So,
That's fair. Totally fair.
Yeah, that's right.
So fair enough.
maybe it's not.
I got into it. So whenever we go to a steak place, I hate it because the way that I like to eat steak, they refuse to cook it. It doesn't matter how I order it. It always comes medium well or medium rare, whatever it is. I want well done. That's how I want it. They will never cook. So we're in the Caribbean. They have like a steak restaurant there, the Rodeo House. And I sat down and I was like, you know what? These I'm on this fucking resort. These motherfuckers are here to make sure I'm happy. They want me to come back and tell my friends about it. They'll goddamn cook the steak the way I want. No, you know what happened? They gave me shit in Spanish instead of English about how I wanted it cooked. So then I couldn't even understand these motherfuckers.
You are in their country.
But I'm getting shit for how I want to eat my steak in some other fucking language now. They also said, what kind of sauce do you want? And I was like, pepper sauce. But they're like, the chimichurri is better. I said, okay, but I don't want that. I don't know what it is, and I don't want it. They're like, but it's better. Well, how would I say that in Spanish? They kept saying chimichurri. I'm like, no, pepper sauce. So I ended up with a medium rare steak with fucking chimichurri on it. I was like, what the fuck is going on? You think in a resort? Anyways, whatever.
And how well do you think their children ate that night?
Well, this is definitely first world problems. I understand that.
Yeah, like just eat the fucking steak that comes to you, man. Like there's a language
I wouldn't
barrier
have gone
sometimes.
there. I would have rather eaten the fucking pizza and hot dogs at the buffet. I don't want to eat steak ever. It's not a meal. If someone said to me, "What's the last thing you'd eat?" Well, probably like there's a whole bunch of things I wouldn't eat, but steak is on the list of things I don't normally ever eat. I don't like it because of this issue.
Do they have ham sandwiches there?
No.
Have you tried the kids menu?
Chicken fingers in the shape of dinosaurs.
Listen, for the record, a lot of people in the resort and on the trip got very ill from something. I did not. You know why? Because I eat pasta warmed up in a pan with oil and Parmesan cheese, and I eat French fries. And so does Paisley. And you know who didn't get very fucking sick? I think I took 2 of my stomach pills in one day because I forgot. So I think that's why my stomach was upset. But Paisley and I never got fucking sick. You know why? Because we eat pasta and bread and Parmesan cheese. And apparently medium rare steak with fucking chimichurri sauce, which actually was okay. It wasn't that bad. There was no well done steak with pepper sauce, but I didn't let those motherfuckers know. Sorry, now I'm raging about that.
This has been the PK episode.
Yeah. You know what happened when we were in the airport? Now I'm like, yeah, fuck, whatever. We're not getting to your questions, Mike. When we were in the airport, we got there at like 4 o'clock in the morning or something, or whatever. I don't know, whatever ridiculous time it was. And we're sitting in the area waiting for the plane at the gate. And the whole airport was filled with 20-year-old to 35-year-old Mexican males. They're everywhere. And I'm like, what is going on?
Their work visas are up.
That it occurred to me. I'm like, oh, every landscaping company
closed. Yeah.
The labor problem just got way fucking worse. Like, because they all have to go. They're all going home. They're all going home. So, and they most of them, oh yeah, they all seem happy to be going home. Once again, they speak a language I don't understand, so I don't know what they were actually saying, but they seemed happy.
I can't wait to get some rare steak with chimichurri sauce.
Want to know what else was annoying on the trip? They check your passport when you're going past the little desk to go into the tunnel to the airplane, right?
Yep.
And then you go in the tunnel, and then you get to the airplane, and they check your passport again. Like, what the fuck do you think happened to me in that tunnel? It's an enclosed tunnel. You think someone clawed their way through the bottom of the tunnel to get on this plane to the Dominican? Use your brain, people.
I think they just want to tell you what seat you're in the plane.
Why do you need my passport for that?
Because your ticket's
inside.
Passport.
Yeah.
Just look at my ticket, seat 32B. I don't need to fucking the airport is secure, but somehow someone climbed through the bottom of the runway, broke into the tunnel, and they're getting a seat on the airplane that's probably sold to someone else.
Maybe they just checked your passport.
Probably.
They took one look at you.
Searched by customs yet again for the 500th fucking time.
Did you?
I always get searched. I got caught smuggling shit when I was a kid. So.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah. Cigarettes across the border. Yeah.
Okay.
You know what was really convenient about that? At the time, I don't remember the exact numbers, so no one fucking DM me about this, but at the time, let's say 30 cartons or less wasn't a federal charge. It was just a fine. 30 cartons and more was like a federal charge. So I get busted. I have all these cigarettes in the trunk. I'm at the border. I was like 17. So I was like, pretty like, fuck. Like, this isn't going to go well. And then they come out. They're like, hey, you only have 28 cartons. You must have really read up on the laws and known. I don't think so. You just pay a fine and you're free to go. And I was like, oh yeah. And they're like, yeah. And then I was like, man, thank God I ran out of money. Way more fucking cartons of cigarettes than 28. So I was like, I don't fucking know what that. Like, I just ran out of money, man. Sorry. So,
you didn't have to call general counsel to advise you.
I didn't have to call general counsel to fucking advise me. I had the fine. Yeah. You know what's even so? The car at the time was in my dad's name because I'm trying to save on insurance. So my dad took that license plate and then used it on his next car because it was his license plate. And one time he came back from Florida, he's like, every time I go to the border, the car just gets fucking searched. And I was like, I won't bring this up. Just ignored the conversation and moved on. I was like, pretty sure I know why that's happening to you. Pretty confident. One time we got so the kids and I were crossing the border to go to Darien Lake, and we're at the border crossing, and Kelly was in the car behind us, and we had like a U-Haul trailer, and she had packed all the coolers and stuff, and I'd put them in the U-Haul trailer, and the guy said to me, "Do you have any peaches?" I said, "I think it was either peaches or oranges. I think it was peaches." And I looked at the guy in the face, because as soon as they pull me up, it all comes up, and then they just give me a hard time, right? Both sides of the border. So he says, do you have any peaches? And I looked at the guy and I said, I don't know. We might. I didn't pack the coolers. I put them in there. I don't fucking know what's in it, dude. I don't know if you have your scanner set for peaches right now, and you already know that I have peaches. Like, well, I don't know what these, like, maybe these guys have a peaches scanner. Like, we're looking for bombs, terrorist weapons, guns, and peaches.
Our X-rays set to peaches right now.
Why would you even? How many times have you crossed the border in your life?
Me, to the U.S.
Yeah,
probably just a handful of times.
Have they ever asked you if you're carrying peaches?
Never. They've never asked me if I'm carrying peaches.
Have they ever asked you if you're carrying peaches, Chad?
No, I got in trouble for carrying sticks once, but not
Like
peaches.
what kind of sticks?
I had brush in the bed of my pickup. They're like, you can't bring that over here. Like, well, I forgot it was in there. I'm like, I really doubt the ecosystem is different in Malone, New York than it is in Cornwall, Ontario, where I could fucking throw a rock across the river.
You guys can have it. You take the brush.
I was like,
But they don't know where you're going with that brush. You could go all the way to Florida with that shit.
well, no, because I had to tell them that I was going to the ship it shop. Some fucking before it was really easy to get shit delivered to Canada. You had to go across the border to America to pick it up and bring it back.
What were you pick? What was that? Like, what were
I
you
don't
shipping?
know. I don't know. Maybe like
Brush.
hubcaps or I don't know.
What?
It was 10 years ago, like hubcaps for a truck or something. Maybe motorcycle parts. I don't know. But you had to go there to get it.
So if you're at the border and the guy asks you specifically if you have peaches, my brain immediately goes, maybe we have peaches. Why would you ask me that question? Because I have a theory in life that most people don't ask questions that they don't already know the answer to.
Ooh.
So I'm looking at this dude going, fuck. I said, I don't know if we have peaches. We might. Maybe we do. Do you want me to open the trailer so you can search it? And the guy's like, yeah, right now. So, Kelly's in the car behind me. The kids are like, I don't know, they're like 7. They're like fucking horrified. What's going on? I'm opening up the trailer. This guy's like pilfering through the trailer looking for peaches. Couldn't find any. Says, I guess you don't have any peaches. I said, I guess not. Again, I didn't pack the shit. I have no idea what's in here. I'm a big picture person. I'm not a detail person. I know we need to drive to the US. I don't know how to pack for that. That's detail issue. I know how to put the packing in the trailer. That's big picture. But actually putting this, anyway. So we get across the border. Kelly calls me. What the fuck just happened? I go, I don't know. This guy was looking for peaches. She goes, but there is peaches in the trailer, in the cooler. I was like, oh, fuck. Guy already searched us. Fuck. So on the way back, we made sure we had no fruit. Because I don't know whether maybe they had the scanners set for grapes on the way back. I don't fucking know. All right, ask a question, Mike, before I get really off topic again.
Well, I got something that just came to mind. We were talking about that question you had about altruism and coaching and teaching or whatever.
Yeah.
I saw this clip of some guy who hung out with like Grant Cardone and them, and he was doing this online summit, and one of his guests was Edward Snowden, and Edward Snowden, known as a whistleblower, and so Edward Snowden comes on, and he assumingly wanted his project to be hyped up, right? He's trying to sell some sort of educational content sort of thing. And the first thing Edward Snowden says is, I don't know why you asked me to come to this. I am notoriously a whistleblower, and as a good conscience, I have to, if I find something about somebody, I have to bring it to light. And he brings up a Ponzi scheme that this guy was involved in in front of this guy's like thousands of viewers. And he's like, is this you? And the guy's like, yeah, that's me. He's like, well, according to this, you're involved in this Ponzi scheme, and I don't know why you would ask me, knowing my history of a whistleblower. So
that's great.
So how many people bought the course? Probably half the people watching instead of all of them.
At that moment, it was reduced from $3,000 to free.
And in that moment, they had a Black Friday sale.
All right. Yeah, I think we got time for a question or two here. Road to 100 MS. Who is someone in the industry you look up to?
Like a person online, or just a person that you know, or what?
Anything. It doesn't have to be online. It could be anything in general. I wouldn't say like look up to is the right word for it, but I do really like to see what Sean from Premier Outdoor has kind of done, mixing in the whole design build aspect along with his online presence with the YouTube channel and his podcast and everything. That's kind of similar to the lines that I am branching down, minus the beautiful designs that he does.
I have a friend who passed away like 10 years ago, and I still look up to him. He was a smart guy. He taught me a lot of shit. So I often think of him when I have to make big decisions. So he was a smart person, smart guy. I don't know if I look up, but more respect. I just really respected his, and maybe that's a bad way to put it. I respected his opinion about things and the way he thought about business and the way he thought about life. And so if I'm ever in some kind of moral trouble or thinking about some big decision, like, keeping an excavator, I would often think of him and how would he approach the issue? I guess I still do now.
Was it like a complimentary way of thinking about things with you, or did he play devil's advocate? Like what?
No,
what
he just had an interesting. I would say to Chad now, and I don't think I said it earlier, but people have heard me say it a million times. People don't call you for shit you don't have. If you don't own a 2010 excavator, no one calls you for a 2010 excavator. The second you have it and people know you have it, it puts it in their mind, and then people start calling you for it. If you put it out there constantly that you have, here's two quick lessons from that individual. One was people don't call you for shit you don't have, which is absolutely fucking true. And the second thing is you got to put what you have out there all the time so people know it. One of the lessons I learned was we were sitting in a bar with a whole bunch of other contractors, and when we left, I said, man, I was hoping one of those guys would ask me about my two because I had two S70s at the time. I was hoping that one of those guys would ask me about the S70s for the sidewalks that some of the plazas are doing, because I think they would be really great machines for sidewalk machines for plazas. And he literally turned and said, well, you didn't bring it up. And I said, no. And he's like, well, how do you know that they knew you had it? Like, you got to make sure people know that you got to put it out there. And I use that advice every day. Still, it's fucking great advice. Like, if people don't know that you have bins, why would they call you for fucking bins? People aren't going to randomly call you and be like, hey, bring some bins. How many bin calls have you gotten, Mike?
I don't think any.
Exactly. Like that's so. And then the other thing, I can't remember how it came up exactly, but another time he said to me, people don't call you for shit you don't have. If you want to be in the excavating game and you want to dig basements, or you want to do whatever you do with 2010 excavators, you best have a 2010 excavator. Because people aren't going to call you for work for a 2010 excavator frequently if you don't have one. You might get the odd call, but you won't get frequent calls. But as soon as you own it and you have it and people know about it, they will call you. So he just had a different way of looking at things than I did. So it was just a different, I guess, just a different way of viewing the world and business. So I still live today by a lot of people think if your truck's not rolling, you're not making money, right? If you're not moving the wheels, you're not making money. I think you make the most money when the truck's not moving. And that's how I approach trucking.
You mean when it's idling? Or like shut off,
shut off, sitting. Well, no, I'm saying like your truck is making a lot more money if it's sitting on someone's site waiting to get loaded all day than it is running hard gravel.
Oh yeah.
It's easier on the truck. So that's what that's the thing, right? Like I still use that theory today. Like, how can we make the most money with the trucks moving the least? Mm-hmm. But there's the more common thread in trucking is if I'm not moving that truck all day long, every day, and the wheels aren't turning constantly, I'm not making any money. It's the opposite way of looking at it. But most people would say if you're not moving the wheels, you're not making money. Whereas I'm like, how can I move the wheels at a minimum? What's the least amount of wheel moving I can do that and still provide great value to our clients? It's just a different way. But that's the kind of shit that he would have talked about. Like that, or he did. And then I just fucking copied. So anyways, that was someone that I had a lot of respect for. That no one else would ever know. But like, you know, I don't know who I really think of. I respect a lot of the people's games on here, the game that they're running. Because all of us are just running a game, right? I don't mean that in a bad way. Chad's running a game, I'm running a game, Mike, you're running a game, we're all just running a game. And how good you are at the game you're running is so like I think there's a lot of guys online that run a good game. That doesn't mean you're dishonest or bad. I don't mean it in a bad way. But I think there's some guys out there that are running a really good game at whatever they're doing. And I watch them too. So and I don't always agree with what they're doing, but I still watch it.
Do you lose the game when you got reporters running after you and you're
no
out of money?
I think you got a great thing going on.
Who?
You. Podcast, website, fucking landscaping company, software. You're running a good game.
Small stages, but we'll get there.
Yeah, but you don't think I think that's I got lots of respect for you. I follow you online. I think that you're doing a lot of shit, man. You're moving a lot of pieces.
Well, I got respect for you guys since we're bringing that up. That's why it's always great to be on the podcast with you guys.
Yeah. Chad, now that Mike and I have had a good love fest, what do you got to
say? Well, not so much like the social media side of things, but like all these old school guys, these old school contractors from my city, and whenever I'm driving through other towns and shit, like you can just tell the really old construction companies who've been through the shit and they're fucking old and they're miserable and they're drunks and they've got all this shit and they could probably buy your house in cash because they have tons of money under the bed or something like that. Like those old school type of guys, I think that's the coolest thing to me is these old school type construction guys. And then some of the people that they have on their crew, like the foreman and stuff, and how they can talk to people and get shit done and work with you and stuff like that. Like these guys are just fucking born workers. And like that's the coolest thing for me to see, especially because we don't see that so much out of the young guys that we hire, like that maybe only are with us for a couple of weeks or whatever because they can't hack it. But you can always turn to like the old guys from the other construction companies and be like, hey, can I get you to bring me a bucket of gravel or something like that? He's like, yeah, I got you. And he can hardly fucking talk, or he's got that little post thing that he's got to put on his throat to talk because he's been smoking his whole life as he was renting the big roller or something like that. Like it's like that shit I think is the coolest thing. And like one day there's gonna be no more of those guys, or I'll be those guys, right? And then who am I gonna look up to? I'll have nobody left. And I hope I get enough juice out of talking to those guys to get me through my last years of construction.
I know we've talked about this before. There's a Sopranos episode, I think it's the first episode, when he goes to the psychiatrist for the first time and he says, I came in at the end of things. I came in it's something about, it's like I came in at the end of when things were good. And it's a reference to how, you know, in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, you know, the mafia was very dominant. And during the shooting of that, it was sort of like kind of the downfall of everyone flipping, no loyalty, fucking everyone selling everyone out, no one wanting to do jail time, everyone going on talk shows, TV. Like it was just a change of the guard, I guess, of how things were handled. And I often, when I watch construction nowadays, compared to when I started, I'm like, man, I really came in at the end of things.
Yeah.
It's outrageous now, the shit that goes on. Like just, and I don't even mean just with the people wonder why construction is so fucking expensive. And then you go to a major construction site and see the amount of shit that's going on. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It just,
yeah.
The site we're on, they took all the soil off the site and shipped it to a place and stored it for 3 years. And they're screening it, and now we're buying it back and bringing it back because they needed to respect the indigenous aspects of the soil.
Yeah, some engineer had a fucking bright idea there. And
so it's costing probably 10 times as much to do this shit. But it's everything is like that now in construction. It doesn't matter what it is. It's been over complexed and it becomes super fucking crazy. And we're actually dealing with this landscape architect on our one job, and she is the fucking best. It's like someone picked her out of the early 90s, and she's not making us dig 7-foot wide tree pits and all this fucking bullshit. She's like, anyways, I have a lot of respect for her. I think she's doing a great job, and it's just so fucking rare to bump into someone like that now. This is how stupid people are. Now, mind you, this is the architect of the building, not the landscape architect. So I need to make that clear. He came up to our foreman and said, all the shrubs and trees you're planting are dead. There's no leaves on them. You need to change them all immediately. And Rick pointed at the forest that we're working beside and said, are all those trees dead, bro? He goes, no, the leaves just fell off them because it's the fall. So what do you think happened to this tree that I'm planting? You think because it's in a root basket, it holds its leaves 12 months of the fucking year? You fucking moron. Like, could you be stupider? But that's the guy who's in charge of building the fucking building. He doesn't know that leaves fall off trees in the fall.
We got a very specialized set of knowledge.
He's like that guy from, what's that movie, Taken? He's Liam Neeson. I have a very special set of skills. I've learned them over a long many years, and they don't include anything outside the walls of the building. You're fucking nuts, man. You've never been outside? But I guess on the flip side, maybe the guy came from Florida where there's no fucking fall and the leaves never fall. I don't know. I feel like I came in on the like. No longer will someone ride to the job site in the bucket of the loader. Those were the good days.
Yeah,
those were the good times, man. Would you guys ride to the job site in the bucket of your loader, Chuck?
No way. Not anymore.
Not anymore. They might have at one time.
They might have. Whenever I was coming up, we would have done that.
Yeah, exactly. We're in it the last of it, baby.
I've ridden a dismantled deck off the back of the top of a tandem dump truck while it was strapped to a backhoe, and I was used as the counterweight to get it to the ground.
Get that bitch down.
Yeah, we can't do that anymore.
Not doing it anymore, man. The good days are gone.
No.
I think less people die, but the good days are gone.
There'll be no stories anymore from here on out.
Well, luckily we've made 200 episodes of permanent stories.
It's true. These are etched into stone.
Forever in the universe.
Yeah.
What's the next question, Mike?
Do you guys want to end it with that? That seems...
Let's do one more question.
One more?
I feel like that was just a bit of a downer thing.
Okay, here we go.
I feel like this is our worst hour, but I feel like it was a bit of a downer. That fucking the good times are gone, bitches. All suffer. Let's ask something lighthearted and fun.
This lighthearted. Oh. Maybe we'll see how it goes. It leads right off of what Chad just said there. Beyond the lawn, has there ever been a time you almost died? That might be a longer one. I got a really short one here if you guys want to go.
I have a time I almost died for sure.
Okay. Okay.
Because I have an endless amount of stories. That happens when you're 50. So when I was like 15, we were planting, we were doing a reforestation planting through, they had cut a large trunk sewer through the middle of Ajax, and we were doing the reforestation planting. So it's like whips and little shrubs and that kind of shit, right? You know, like, and so one of the things, you know, was that I drove this pickup truck because I could drive it up and down and I'd go get the shrubs and bring them back from where they got unloaded and load up the truck. And because no one wanted to do it because it was hot, there was no air conditioning. And I was obviously fascinated because I could drive. Maybe I was 16. I don't know. I was very young. And so I'm flying down the road and, you know, I not particularly looking for things that are in a field, like perhaps old T-bars from the snow fence or the whatever had been put up. And so I ran over it with the tire and it didn't pop the tire, but it did jam the T-bar into the floor of the truck. And then the T-bar came through the floor of the truck, went right in between both my legs and jammed into the steering wheel. No. And I was like, man, I was like, that's pretty wild. There's also a huge hole torn in the floor of the truck, which, you know, is sort of like not great, but wow. So being the quick thinking person that I am, I put the truck in reversed off the T-bar, and then stomped really hard on the floor mat. Well, it was an old Dodge, so it had like a weird rubber floor. So I just stomped on it until it was full of mud and no one could see the hole in the floor of the truck. And then I drove on and never mentioned it to anyone ever until this moment.
Wow. Wow.
But I basically,
you're still with us.
I was very close to like that going through my balls. Or right up into my cavity and being dead, like literally being dead.
Impaled.
It was fucking crazy. I almost got impaled.
Jeez.
Wow. So that was, I mean, I'm sure I have other stories of being close to death, but that one in particular was like very close.
That's wild.
Wow. I got nothing. Compared to that, one of the guys I worked with had a pallet of sod fall on him and bury him.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's heavy.
He was trapped at the yard with like a full pallet of sod on him.
Was he by himself when that happened?
Yeah. He called his brother. He's like, Claude, you gotta come to the yard. I buried it. Sod, I can't get it off. So Claude throws his phone down and jumps in the water truck and fucking peels back to the yard.
Why did he throw his phone down? Just for effect? I've got to go fast.
He's like,
I can't be weighed down by the cell phone.
I gotta go get my brother. He took off.
Wow.
I gotta get my brother. He was back in the truck. And
Mike, you got anything?
I don't think I have anything at all. No. Just probably the stupidest thing I've done, and I think I talked about it on the podcast already, is parking a forklift at the top of the hill that had a iffy parking brake, and then it rolled down the hill into a bunch of natural stone, which people could have been standing by, but luckily nobody was.
When you saw it rolling away, were you like, that's not good?
Well, no, because I ran into the office to get a pen because I was driving something up for the guys behind us in the yard, another contractor there. And all I heard was boom, 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 like this big crash. And I was like, oh, I know exactly what happened. So then I walked outside with my head down and saw the forklift buried in natural stone.
How much damage happened to the natural stone?
There was it was a bunch of 6-foot steps that got broken. Probably about a handful of 6-foot steps.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Cut those bitches down to 4-footers.
Oh yeah.
All right, I feel like that was a happier story. Let's end the episode. Bye. Later.
It's good to be in something from the ground floor. I came too late for that. I know. But lately I'm getting the feeling that I came in at the end. The best is over.